All right, welcome. It's the 174th episode of the Mina's House podcast. I'm Mina SayWhat. Oh, Garnett is still connecting to audio. What happened, Garnett?
I thought it was here already, but Dex Stuckey is here.
Yeah, I thought he was already good and set to go. So listen, it looks like it's going to be one of those days. We have a guest joining us, though. I'm really excited about that. Emmanuel Caesar from Black Ink Crew is going to be joining us. There's a new season coming to VH1 after this crazy pandemic and everything that happened during that time. So we'll talk to Caesar in a bit to see what's been going on with him and his business. And being a small business owner, even though it's not a small business because he actually has like a whole conglomerate, like a whole bunch of Black inks all over the country. But in comparison to like these big corporations, he absolutely is a small business. So how did he get through the pandemic just doing all that? So Garnett, are you here? Are we working?
Yeah, I didn't know I couldn't hear you if my thing wasn't on. This whole time I'm like, I guess they're not ready. I can't hear them talking. Like, what the heck? So
well, you here, baby. All right, so let's get into what's in our feed before our guest comes in. Dex, I thought about you when I saw this story.
You're gonna say that. You knew you were gonna say that.
So Chris Brown and 21 Savage were proudly showing off their Ushbucks, supporting Usher, obviously continuing this conversation about Usher's residency and his own money. I think this is the thing. I think like Usher did an amazing thing with this. He literally got what he bargained for with this fake money.
Hakeem, you are the Prince Hakeem. I told you, he watched one too many movies. I think it's super dope now. I think it's definitely hilarious that they're making it a thing. And I know Bitcoin is going up like crazy. And the stock behind Ushbucks just went up. You got Chris Brown and 21 Savage posting your money is worth something. It's backed by something now.
And now it's backed by something. Now there's some value to it. Look, I thought about this a lot after we talked about it previously. And I think that I'm going to make Dexter dollars. Like, I'm going to do it. Like, I think it's funny, it's silly, and like, well, I don't know why I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. So like, he inspired me to do it. I just don't want the music to be trap type music. I want him to give us some classic hits. That's all I want. Have fun with this, but please give us some good music.
You know what, though? We carry around money with all these old white people. Like, why not put ourselves on money? I think the messaging, that it's sending. I don't even know if Usher meant to do this, right? Mm-hmm. He probably was just like, let me put my face on a couple of dollars, But I think when we really think about it, when you set aside the controversy part of it, how many people of color do we see on money?
None.
Exactly. I would be now, obviously this is fake money, but I mean, there's been literally a push to have Harriet Tubman or someone of color, someone who changed the world, changed the country on money. Mm-hmm. Imagine seeing someone that looks like you on money.
Now, I know this isn't the government doing the Usher dollars, but I'm a little upset that Usher got his money printed before they got Harriet Tubman. It kind of bothers me a little bit.
Listen, I don't know about y'all, but just because of power structure, I kind of like the people with my money dead. I don't need them alive at all. Like I don't need them getting big-headed, being able to look at now. I like whoever's on the money need to be passed away already.
So it actually brings up a good point. Should Obama be on money? Is that something that needs to be a push right now?
I mean, usually they do put presidents on money, and he was the first Black president, and there was obviously a very historic election with him. So I don't see why you wouldn't. Also, Kamala Harris is the first woman to be the vice president, and she's the first woman in that office. Like, I kind of don't see why you wouldn't put those people on money if you're doing it to celebrate the presidents.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that. What president? Because it's usually dead presidents. Now, obviously, we don't want to put Barack and that phrase in the same sentence, but but I was thinking about, well, who would really make sense? Because I think there's something under this. It's about Black entrepreneurship, and maybe this is not what Usher meant, but that's what that meant to me, right? When I saw him with his own face on a dollar bill, that's why I was on board with it. Not when he tried to, throw him at the strippers, but in general, the idea of Black entrepreneurship, Black money, Spanish money, people of color having their own money, their own businesses, their own dollars. I took it there.
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
Yeah, let's start with the older generation first. Give me Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Give me those guys first. And then we can, yeah.
Not Usher.
Not yet, Usher. Not yet.
Okay. Moving on, boxer Gervonta Davis said something interesting that I wanted us to talk about. So he said he can't stop cheating on his girl. I wanted to talk to you guys because is that really a thing? Because if a man were to tell me I can't stop cheating on you, I would just be like, you're a liar. You can, you just don't want to. But is that really a thing? Like, could there be a situation where maybe one of your friends or you, where you've seen that someone just cannot be faithful to their partner?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a real thing.
I think that's a thing. I think people don't admit it. They don't say it out loud, but it's definitely a thing. And I think it's because for access purposes, people think that only celebrities have access to all these women and stuff, but there are a lot of guys who I know who are in relationships, or people that are married and stuff like that. And women throw themselves at them and they don't have the willpower to say you know what, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to respect my marriage or whatever. They think it's okay because they don't have that self-control.
What?
Yeah, he pretty much is running the
that's a first. Garnett has nothing to say.
What I was gonna say, let's talk about even the phrase that Gervonta Davis supposedly said. He didn't say that, by the way. No man's just coming out saying on the internet he can't stop cheating. That's never happening in life. But yeah,
I saw it in the thing.
Yeah, but a cheating man, do you really think a cheating?
I agree. I definitely agree that it's I saw him that doesn't make sense to admit it, because I know people who do it and they will never say that they not even to admit that they do it. So it's interesting that he did that. She probably did it.
Go ahead, Mina.
Well, I was gonna say I wanted to ask if this is a real thing, because I just can't believe that. If you're cheating, you're making a choice, right? I mean, you might be weak. Just say, hey, I like dealing with multiple women. I'm not satisfied by one woman. I think that's the thing to say, But for you to say you can't, you can't stop. What? That's assuming you don't have self-control.
That could also be from an addiction. That's how I'm not giving anybody any type of break, right? I'm not.
Seriously?
I'm not, but it literally can be an addiction from somebody that has, like Dex was saying, so much power, and it's irresistible, so much money, so much fame, and you have these women throwing yourself at you. And this is something that you probably worked for your entire life. I can only imagine how hard it actually is on a person when you can literally, if that's the girl you want, 9 times out of 10, you can get her.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think people, when they do get some type of success or their life change, things become harder because you become a more wanted person. That doesn't give them the right to do it. They do have a choice, but you can only imagine, just like somebody with food they can't stop eating food no matter how bad, the doctors say that they're doing. They're not going to stop eating a certain kind of food. So, I mean, you could look at it the same way.
Wow. Well, it'll be hard to decipher who actually has a sexual problem and who's just being a jerk, because it's are you just being a jerk, or do you really have like a problem with being with one woman, monogamous, which I'm sure is really a real problem. But if you really have a problem, you need to get some help.
It's probably both.
Again, it's hard to decipher who's telling the truth and who's just saying it to say it,
Also, just be single.
Right. That's my thing too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We have a guest joining us right now. We will see if it is Caesar. He'll be joining us in a bit. Yeah. So, I honestly, if a man were to tell me that, I would not believe it. But I'm sure that it's definitely an issue, something that people really deal with. Again, how are you going to decipher who really has a problem that they need help with, or who's just out here cheating all crazy and making excuses for it,
So that's what we might have to determine. Like, what number makes it an actual problem?
I don't even think it's a problem. I think it's people just really being honest with themselves as to why am I doing this? Like if I claim that I really love somebody and they're important to me, why do I keep cheating on them? Why do I keep going outside of this relationship? Like, what is going on? Am I fully satisfied in this relationship? First you got to start there.
Yeah.
Am I fully set? If not, you got to separate yourself and see why you keep going outside of this situation. So it's really internal reflection first. And then if you realize you keep being with a string of people and no one can satisfy you, right? And that's why you're cheating, then you need to go get some help.
Hey, it's you at that point.
Right. And it doesn't even have to be sexual. Maybe it's mental too. Like maybe mentally you cannot be with one person. Maybe there's something you're scared of underneath, or maybe something you witnessed from your childhood that prevents you from really like monogamously attaching yourself to someone emotionally, physically, mentally, but people are not going to do that. They just going to be like, I can't stop cheating, and not really explore what really is under that, if that's really a problem.
Right.
But I'm not trying to be all psychotherapist on here. I'm just
being very understanding now.
Okay, so our next topic that I saw all up and down my feed was Steve Urkel from Family Matters, aka Jahlil White. Now, Jahlil is selling his own line of weed. He's launched a cannibal line called Purple Urkel.
And they let him do that.
He said that no one has the market right now when it comes to purple cannabis, and he just didn't see like someone in that lane fully owning that lane. So he wanted to be the one who owns the lane. So he partnered up with a different company, and he is now selling pre-rolled, joints, these pods, everything with Purple Urkel, which I'm assuming is purple haze or some different string of weed. I mean, are you buying Urkel's weed?
Of course. He is a genius. Do you know how long he probably was sitting on this? Purple Urkel is genius. Why else would you call purple haze that? Like, that's pretty genius. I would definitely smoke with Jahlil White. I would definitely smoke with him. I do think it's a fabulous career decision. Somebody that hasn't been, I guess, in the limelight for a while and was a child star actor, and we know a lot of those kind of grow up to be a little different and always into different things, and to see him never to really be in anything, and to come out and be in a growing industry, which a lot of people are getting in right now, is really like a boom. So for him to go in there and capitalize like that, I actually think it's awesome.
I don't know, Cinder. I don't know if I agree. I don't think it makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you. Like when I think of Urkel, I definitely don't think of weed. I think it makes sense, like from a brand recognition. Like like I'm someone that people know, and if I put my name behind like a product, I'm sure it may sell. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like if it was someone, like I watch wrestling, and there's this guy named RVD. He was known as like a stoner even during wrestling, and like, that makes sense that he now has pre-rolls and all that stuff like that, and people are buying that. Aside from you, I can't think of anybody that'll be like, I want to smoke with Steve Urkel. It doesn't really roll off the tongue.
We can do a poll right now. I promise you. Why wouldn't you want to smoke with Urkel?
When we put this episode up, I'm going to put this clip up, and I'm going to put a poll. I need to know, like, who wants to smoke with Steve Urkel?
What? Yes.
You know what, though? I think that I kind of was on Dex's wave when I first saw it. no one looked at Jahlil White as a connoisseur of purple haze or purple weed or whatever it is that's purple that's he's selling. I didn't think about that, right? But that's the thing about weed. You cannot stereotype people anymore to thinking who is the stereotypical person that would smoke and wouldn't smoke. Like Dex, you keep talking about edibles. And like, you know, Dex will be talking about it on here, but you know, when we're talking behind the scenes, Dex is eating an edible every week. Like every week. And you know, and like if I'm looking at Dexter, you know, I'm not gonna sit there and be judgy, but I'm not taking him as someone who's eating an edible every week.
Yeah, I'm Steve Urkel. Nobody wants to smoke with me. I'm literally Steve Urkel. It's me. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But I do agree with what you're saying, though, as far like even with the Usher stuff, it's entrepreneurship, and I do respect that and I appreciate that. I just don't see it for him. Like, it just doesn't make sense for Steve Urkel to be doing that.
Well, that was going to be my next point. How I'm just happy someone is being an entrepreneur. You know, clearly he's a connoisseur and he didn't see anyone in this lane and decided to put himself in this lane. And I think the dichotomy of Steve Urkel's performance, which is persona, which is not even who Jahlil White is. Right. Because it's funny, later on in Family Matters, they started to introduce Stefan. And he was fine. And like nothing like what Steve Urkel's character was. So Jahlil White really, you know, doesn't necessarily in real life have to be like Steve Urkel. But, you know, it might not, you know, we don't know who he really is, but clearly this is something that he's been thinking about, something that he's interested in and that he wants to make money off of. And I'm not even mad. Send me some.
People buy weed from any and everybody as long as it's good. And now that it's legal, why not get into it? Well, it's legal in a lot of places, so why not get into it? It's just a good business decision, especially for somebody like I know he was sitting on that name for a long time. I think that's hilarious.
Had to be.
I can't wait for this moment.
I wonder how involved he is, though, because, you know, like, okay, so Jay-Z has his own cannabis line, too, as well, right? And a whole host of people are doing stuff. Snoop Dogg's doing stuff. I always wonder how involved they are. Is it like when Diddy put out, you know, Ciroc bottles or now I think he has a little bit more ownership, but initially I think when he partnered with them, it was something that they did and that, you know, he was just kind of putting his stamp on. I wonder how involved he is. Is this really him going through the process of, you know, seeing the weed grow, trying it out, you know, or is it a company making it and then him just putting his brand and his name behind it? I always wonder when people are launching companies.
I'm here for it, but like, let's just be careful though. Like we love the entrepreneurship, but like, you know how this goes. It gets too big and then Kim Kardashian and Khloe Kardashian are selling cannabis lines. And we just, at some point we got to pump the brakes.
Right. you know what? Why? I don't think I would smoke their line, actually. I would not. I don't think so.
You wouldn't smoke Kim K. Kush?
Yeah, you're stupid. So we're waiting on Caesar to join us and talk about this new season of Black Ink Crew. There he is, right on time. Our timing is getting good. There he goes. Hello.
What's up, y'all? Sorry, I'm a little.
Hi. It's okay. Hi. You're right on time.
Thank you. You know, it's been a hectic media day for me.
I bet that you're happy about it, right? Because there's been some things going on. You know, you're a business owner. Businesses have been shut down. You was probably sitting in the house smoking some purple Urkel or.
Yeah, absolutely right. See? Gaining all types of weight. Yeah, absolutely right.
So Caesar Emmanuel is joining us. Hi, Cez. Nice to talk to you again.
What's up, y'all?
I'm Mina.
Garnett.
How you doing, Mina? I'm Caesar.
Dex Ducky, nice to meet you.
What's up, D?
Listen, man, before we start this interview, you're gonna have to put on a shirt. Let's just say that, man.
I was sneaking on, but you know.
You know, I was gonna say that. I'm like, you got your shirt off. What are we doing here?
They ain't tell me it was gonna be a Zoom till like later on. So I was just running around in my
Wait,
house.
so you've been working on your body. Can we see the body?
Hey,
You told her to put his shirt on.
my shirt on. And we got guys on here, man.
All right.
you just try to walk us down the wrong path, man.
Okay, I'll just look on social media. So Seeds, your show Black Ink Crew New York is back on VH1. I can't even imagine what you've been going through as a business owner during this pandemic. I'm sure we're gonna see all of it kind of play out on TV, but like, how has your life been? Like your Harlem store closed down. Talk about like the roller coaster of your life in the last year.
Man, it's my whole life has been upside down because in the beginning of this whole COVID thing, I caught COVID. You know what I mean? Like that was a whole different experience. And then my mother caught it right after me. And my mother has like she has a lot of medical issues. So with her now, it was like F me. I was more worried about her. And it took a little minute to get through it. She still has issues behind it, but she made it through it. That's the most important thing. And then even with the businesses, it was like, God, man, it was a time that I really didn't think I was going to be able to open my businesses again. And it was kind of scary for me because people don't understand. I put so much work and time and hard work into building on my Black Inks. So for me to be shut down by basically a world pandemic, it was a trying time because I just lost 113 when the pandemic hit. I lost 113. That was home base, and then it was like a domino effect. So getting through everything, it was like I have to say it was very trying times. And then even with that, it's like you stuck inside for a whole year basically. So you really can't even plan anything. The whole thing is just like it's upside down to me. And sit here and I'm in my house trying to figure everything out, and it's like you're by yourself and your brain is scrambling. Just put it like this: if I was anybody else, I'd probably be in a madhouse by now.
Were you scared for your business? Because you built an empire. Like Black Ink Crew is literally an empire at this point. Were you scared that was going to go away permanently?
Yeah, I was. I'm not going to tell you no lie. With everything being said, with everybody not knowing if this COVID thing will go away, and the fact that we can't even touch each other, be around each other, breathe around each other, that would have been the end for tattooing. Like my business, not like online business where I could sell stuff and mail it in. Like some other people thrive, and my business actually decreased. Thank God I was never one of those splurging type of guys that just spend my money unnecessarily. I had something in the bank for each shop, so they was able to maintain even though they was closed. I was still paying rent and everything, but it got to a time that I was like, man, if we don't open back up, I'm going to have to lose some of these shops just to maintain the core. And thank God we open back up because there's no loan out for tattoo shops. Like anybody wants to sit there, the government giving loan outs. Nah, not for no tattoo shop. I don't give a hell how much taxes you could show you pay, what you did. They just not doing it.
I was going to ask that. That's interesting. Seriously? You didn't get no government aid? You have like 7 shops or something like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I couldn't get nothing. I couldn't get nothing for my personal. So it got to the point that I had to sit here and realize, like, you know what? It's time to call it how it is. I'm not going to get no handout. I can't look for a handout. So it's time for me to man up and sit here and say, yo, I got to do this on my own.
Now, I know that you just told us that you struggled with a lot of like business stuff. And so this question is somewhat silly, but I need to know. I read a couple years ago that you were thinking about opening up a Black ink shop in Philadelphia. Are you still thinking about that, or would you still do it?
The funny thing is, you're the second person to ask me about that today. The Philly situation. All right, this is what happened in Philly. Everybody know what happened in South Street. How they was just basically, I don't know if it's racism. I don't know if it's socialism that they don't want certain people to climb up the ladder. But the way Philly is done is basically it holds people back. You feel me? Like let's just put it out there. You can't own a business in Philly if you have a felony. You feel me? And then certain businesses ain't zoned in Philly, so you got to ask permission. You feel me, for certain business, and that's some of the problems I had in Philly. I went through the problem in South Street where basically the community board went against me, but the community wanted me there. But because the board didn't approve, I had to go to the city. The city approved, but then got threatened from another tattoo shop that didn't get approved that they was going to sue the city if they approved me. So what happened was they shut mines down. All right, which regulation says they could have 10 shops on South Street and they only had 9, but they wouldn't let Black ink there because we're a Black entrepreneur, we're a Black owned company, and those other companies aren't. And mind you, I had to remind them in the city council, yo, I don't even have a criminal background if y'all want to sit here and go there. How many of these owners have criminal backgrounds? You feel me? Or not even like, let's really, and that's when everything started to get foggy. Steve, we don't want no problem with you. Cool. I went to North Philly now. Now, everybody knows Greg from North Philly. You know what I mean? He gave me the spot, a nice spot, decked it out for me and everything. Now, what happened was COVID happened. Gotcha. You feel me? The city shut down. Now, during those months, anybody who owned something was going through crucial time. They didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. Instead of him sitting there saying, yo, listen, yo, I'm a hold this. He did a business move. He got somebody else to take the spot. You feel me? Even though I couldn't move during those times during COVID because everything was going. I couldn't be mad at that. That's just part of business. Right now, I'm still looking for somewhere to put a Black ink in Philly. And it's just so hard with Philly because I mean, honestly, I've never got any pushback from any other city like Philly.
Wow.
Like you got to go through so much, and it's frustrating to a point because it's like, I understand like with Philly, they don't like outsiders coming in, but it just feels like once we passed that, it was more of a racial barrier because most of the people that work in those city jobs and the regulations are Black.
All right.
Yes. And every time people ask, yo, what's up with Philly? And I feel like people thinking I'm like, oh, I'm just fronting not to come to Philly. I've been wanting to open up Philly. Actually, Philly was supposed to be my third shop.
I remember.
I'm already up to number 7 and I still can't get into
you. And that's when you talked about it. And I can't even believe, I thought maybe something fell through with, the location or, funding. Sometimes it's finicky when you're trying to start a business, but you're saying like you was ready to go and now this board was telling you no, which I didn't even know South Street had a board.
Exactly. A lot of people don't know South Street have a board. When you see this board of representatives, you like, hold on.
And you might not want to bring new business there, man. Philly is wild.
What kind of like person are you looking for? Like style of tattoo artistry are you looking for?
Right. I look for the dopest artists, right? But they gotta be from like whatever city I'm opening up from, they gotta be from that city. I don't bring in artists from other cities and whatnot. That's against the whole model of Black ink. It's supposed to be to uplift other urban artists in that city. So if I bring a Black ink to that city, I'm trying to recruit the best artists out of that city. You feel me? And then I look for the loyalty, the chemistry, because you could be cold, you know what I mean? But you could be an asshole too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like you gotta be humble to a certain extent. Like you on somebody's skin, even though you got a certain skill set, you still gotta be humble. And that's one of the things that I thrive with, because most of the time, if you humble, you go further than someone who's just cocky and arrogant. So those are some of the skill sets I look for as artists. And you gotta be a hustler. You gotta be ambitious. If you're not a hustler and ambitious, if your goal ain't to sit there and open up your own shop in a couple more years, you with the wrong nigga. All I want to do is make sure that when you open up your shop is a Black ink.
See, I know this is a tough question, but you tattooed DMX.
Yeah.
And passed away. Can you talk about the relationship that you build with him over time, and then also like what the tattoos meant to him that you put on his body?
All right, the first tattoo I did for him was like a memorial to the 9/11 situation. That's when I first met X. And it was like, you know, when you meet somebody, you know, you already got that perception of like, yo, he crazy, you know what I mean? But when you meet somebody, meet them, and you get to know them, you understand like society could be crazy to some people, and they don't understand that person. Right. DMX had multiple personalities. You feel me? Sometimes you'll get the pastor, sometimes you'll get the bad man, sometimes you'll get the psychologist. You get different X's, but at the end of the day, no one could ever say that X is a carbon copy of anybody or anything they ever seen before. He's a unique individual, and I was just blessed to know him as a friend. He actually, when I be looking at hindsight, you know, when I first met him, he actually saved me, because people don't understand, like, God put people in your life sometimes to give you a message. And if you don't receive the message, you're going to be doomed. When X came in my life, I hated reality TV. And this was after season 1. A lot of people, nobody knows this story except me and X. And I started to share it because people started asking me. He came to 113, that's for his neck, that neck tattoo, right? He's like, yo, bro, he read me. He read me immediately, and no one ever reads me. Like, I'm probably one of the hardest people to read. He read me. He's like, yo, don't take friends, da-da-da-da. You know what? It's like an F with you. You know, it's I have to earn your friendship. I don't want somebody to give me their friend. I want to earn it. Yo, he sat there from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning. By the time he left that morning, we was friends.
Yeah.
We sat down, we did the tattoo. He prayed. We talked for hours about my struggles, his struggles. He didn't even brought cats from the projects over to battle in the backyard. Have a whole battle rap session in the backyard. So it's like when you meet somebody like him, he'll forever be engraved in my soul. Forever. I don't care if he dead for 20 years or what, like forever since day one. I always say X is one of those people that I will never forget, and I always remember him dead as a friend. And I'm sorry that this happened to him, but at the end of the day, I keep telling people that knew X, everybody knew he was fighting shit and he had demons with him. You know what I mean? Everybody know he was fighting certain things. He's fighting addiction. He was fighting this. The only thing I know right now, my boy is in peace. Yeah. That's all I know.
Yeah. Did you cry? Because I was bawling. Like,
I didn't cry the day of. I cried the next day because I really didn't want to believe it. Because you gotta understand, the day before it was all this, your X is dead, X is dead. And it was false news. So in my mind, I'm like, nah, this is another false thing. It's almost like when Kobe died, you didn't want to believe it. It's like, what? Just shut up, yo. This media bugging the hell out. But then when you realize that he's really gone, and it's like you go back in your memory bank and you're like, damn, bro. Damn. And the last memory I remember, it's funny because the last memory I remember, I did his exodus on his collarbone. That's his last son, right? When he was born, the day he was born, he came, yo, Steve, gotta do his tattoo. Bet I did it. And then I remember a couple, like, let's say 4 months, 5 months before that COVID, before we shut down, his fiance came in and she got a tattoo. But I didn't even know it was his fiance. And when she was finished, all this, she's like, yeah, my fiance coming to pick me up. I was like, all right. And then he walked in. And he was like, yo, yo, dog, told you, we stick with the family. I'm like, oh, bro.
You did that impression pretty well. That was really good. That was
good. You can actually play him in a movie.
Yeah.
When X came in, he's like, yo, dog, we gotta go eat. Come on. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm tired. We filming all day. But you know, that's the only regret, that I didn't get to spend more time with him, because we all hustling. It was like, we all grinding. It's like, yo, I'm gonna get some time to chill out, but that's on my only regret. But I love that man to death.
Mm.
I mean, this is a little bit. We're gonna change the subject a little bit. We're gonna talk about some of the fine women you be having on this show, man. God, from every city, you be having black ink lit, man. Give me some of the backstories on this.
Man, listen, man, I might have to put that in a book or something, because if people only knew what goes on behind the scenes, bro. Like, good Lord, man. Like, put it like this: every city that there's a black ink in, we have a good roster of some fine women. You feel me? And that's why one of the reasons why I want to open up Philly, because y'all got some fine women and they kind of nuts. So I was gonna put them.
They'll cut you though. You gotta be careful with them.
I know. That's why this social distance is perfect for me. 6 feet, I can see the blade come out. I can back up.
What's the craziest tattoo you've done?
Huh?
What's the craziest tattoo you've done?
Craziest. No, I've done a lot of crazy tattoos. I have probably a catalog of crazy tattoos, like everything from the blowfish around the asshole.
Oh!
Yo, listen. It gets crazy. You know what I mean? It gets crazy, especially in my younger days of tattooing. It was like I'm tattooing anything and everything for some money. It's like whatever. It's whatever. I done put a penis on somebody's forehead. I done some crazy tattoos. Something that I wouldn't do now. It's like no. But yo, when you grinding, man.
You ever go in and do something like that, like the blowfish, and the person is unsanitary? Like, how do you deal with smells?
That happened to me one time, and it wasn't even a blowfish. It was the letters FG on her butt cheeks, and I never forget that day. Listen, it was my first shop in Bedford-Stuyvesant, right? Mm-hmm. This girl comes in like, I want my man's initials. I messed up. I said, cool. Quick tattoo, quick $50. You know what I mean? Let's get it.
Yeah.
Now listen, she pulled down them pants. All I knew, I got a whiff of something different. To this day, my nose ain't the same. My nose has been broken since that day. I never smelled again like how I used to smell before that day. You feel me? So I put the stencil on her, right? And I come out my room to try to get some air. Yo, tell me why the whole shop left and went outside, because she stunk up the whole shop. But me being professional, I still did the tattoo. But now I think about it in hindsight, I think I should sue her because my nose is messed up, yo.
You're a mess. Before you go, Caesar, Black Ink Crew New York is on VH1. What are we seeing this season? And I'm glad to see you're back.
This season, y'all going to see us. We can't say post-COVID, but you can say post us opening back up and how we had to grind back to basically get back to a number one spot. Listen, we lost 113. That's no longer our home. So we are homeless and we're looking for a new home. But you're going to see us find a new home and have to leave that because that shit get closed down. And then we're going to have to go to Atlanta. And then y'all going to see us turn up in Atlanta. But it's going to be a fun season.
No Philly then. One day.
Not yet. Listen, it's coming. It's coming. I'm telling you, before next season, y'all gonna have a Philly, a Black Ink Philly, guaranteed.
We'll be down there. I'll get my there.
I was gonna say, you've been saying you're gonna fix my tattoos for 5-6 years now, Caesar.
I thought it was paid by now. I got you.
Caesar, thank you so much for joining us. Black Ink Crew New York is on VH1. Bye, boo. Thank you. We salute you.
Salute y'all.
That was hilarious.
The blowfish.
That one took me for a loop.
I felt like I laughed so hard in the mic.
I mean, I act like for some reason my brain, like I visualized it for some reason. It's like, no, I don't want to be here right now. Why did I just see that?
And also, like, why did you ask him to do that for you? Like, I want to get the person who has that. Like, I want to talk to you now.
So as a man, you know, you're about to be sexual with a girl and you see she has a blowfish in her butt. Like, are you
He didn't say it was a girl.
Oh,
So it could have been. So you're a woman, you're about to be sexual with a guy. He pulls his pants down, you see a blowfish. What do you do?
Blowfish.
or you're a man about to be sexual with another
Sure.
man and you see a blowfish. I mean, are you running or are you know, what are we doing here?
It's quite like, so like, why? What made you do that?
It's kind of like how I was telling y'all when I was with this guy and then he had an uncircumcised penis and I was so, you know, thrown off by it. But I was like, whoa, abort mission.
There are things you have to tell people before you pull your pants down.
How do you tell someone that? I have this weird tattoo on my butt. Like,
You just show them. I would assume that's what it's there for, a surprise, right? Like you just don't walk around and tell people, hey, look, you get it to unleash on people. That's
oh my God. All right. This has been an interesting episode of the Mina's House podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to Caesar Emmanuel from Black Ink Crew. I'm Mina SayWhat.
Garnett Briscoe.
Dex Stuckey.
All right, we'll talk to you next week. It's going to be the 175th episode. What? 175. And we're on Pandora now. Okay. So SiriusXM owns Pandora. We're all one company now. So I'm going to start talking about a little podcast on my SiriusXM show. All right. So thank you guys for watching and we'll talk to you.